All right, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. We are ripping our way through a Money Monday today. And on Money Monday, sometimes he's the leadoff man, sometimes he's the closer, but he's always on the A team for us. And right next door in the Garden State is my good buddy Fernando Uribe. He's a faculty member at Bergen Community College. He's also the host of Politically Direct on Insider NJ, which happens to be killing it. That's his podcast. And Fernando joins us every week. We do a little update on what's happening in the Garden State, New Jersey, because we got so many crazy leftist voices out there, especially the governor of New York and the governor of New Jersey. Mixed messages. This is open. This is closed. I don't know. The liberals are driving me crazy, but we'll see what Fernando's take is on all this stuff as he joins us now from the Garden State, New Jersey, Fernando Uribe. And Fernando, thanks for kicking it off for us today, kicking off the week. A lot of stuff going on for sure. But this Republican relief bill seems to be top of the shop. $1 trillion they're talking about without the payroll tax. What do you see happening here? We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Package coming up is a second round of PPP loans, and we know that those were under considerable scrutiny during the spring. We know that a lot of businesses whose revenues have fallen below 50%, this is going to be a welcome side of relief for them. But I think more importantly for a lot of Americans, John, they're struggling with the fact that in many industries and many other professions, they have not reopened, especially here in New Jersey and in New York, across the river, of course, with you. Many businesses still remain closed. We know that both governors have insisted on keeping many important facets of the economy closed, and thus people are out of work. And the additional $600 that people were receiving during unemployment expires this week. It seems like that it's not going to be renewed at that high amount. And I believe, according to sources that I talked to, that amount is probably going to shrink down to almost $200 extra a week. That's not a lot for many Americans, John. And I think that this is something that the Republican Party is going to have to look at, especially the Senate, when it comes to whether or not Americans are going to get back on their feet. It doesn't seem like this is going to help right now.
Well, look, as far as I'm concerned, anything less than 600 is going to be stimulative because it's going to create a little more incentive for people to go back to work. With the extra 600, nobody wants to go to work. The pandemic just happened to be ending up in July, so everybody thinks they're taking the summer off and they'll figure it out in September, Fernando. But if they take it from 600 to 200, I think that puts people in a little different position to maybe take that job or go back to their job, which could be real helpful.
Absolutely. And without question, that amount has motivated many Americans to, as you said, to take a hiatus during this time period. And for many of them, they're going to have to reevaluate exactly with their finances, what impact it has on their households specifically, as to whether or not they should go back to work. Listen, John, whether it's Indeed.com or other job sites, I mean, there are jobs there. And with this economy and because of COVID, a lot of companies are now offering remote work. And that's something that for many Americans, I think, is something that they should consider exploring. And if that's available to them, listen, if you can go back to work, please do so. The idea that we want to remain sort of dependent on government, that's what the left wants, John. And I understand that for many on the left, that's something that is, music to their ears. But to many Americans, they want to go back to work. They want to earn. They want to go back and earn as much as they possibly could pre-COVID.
No doubt about it. And by the way, I love when our audience out there learns a little thing or two from the show. But I will tell you, I've employed thousands of people in my life. And I've come across a couple situations where somebody was coming off unemployment and then they got hired and they just coincidentally forgot to tell the department of the unemployment insurance that they got a new job and they figure they can get both for maybe a month or two and nobody will figure it out. The government has all kinds of fail-safes in place to catch you, so don't do it because you're going to get yourself in even worse trouble. Go get a job and stop taking the money from the government. You're safe in that. But Fernando, I feel like young people are at this point being paid by getting this extra $600 to go protest, basically, because any kids just out of college if they collect unemployment and they go down and throw rocks at cops, we're paying. It's on our dime.
John, listen, you are preaching to the choir when it comes to this. And you've been talking about this at length for months, and I'm with you. We're setting a really bad example right now when it comes to what these blue cities, such as New York, such as Seattle and Portland and others around the country, are enabling young people and just professional protesters in general when it comes to this political climate that we're living in. And quite frankly, it's a reflection at the failed leadership in these cities. I mean, again, let's start off with Bill de Blasio. Bill de Blasio has been a failure for multiple reasons pre-COVID, but now during this pandemic, I mean, his ineptitude and incompetence has been put under such a microscope that it reminds us exactly why, when you put liberals in charge of cities, this is why they go into ruins. That's why they become disasters. And I know, listen, this is a family-friendly show. There's a word I could use, blank hole, to describe what's happening in the city. And I can't use that word on the air, but that's what they're becoming.
Nah, we get it.
They're becoming that because of liberal, governors and liberal mayors. And again, it's a reflection of how intellectually incompetent the left has become, John.
No, I tend to agree with you. And on the de Blasio front, I mean, I've been saying this for literally years. The guy doesn't even go by his name's Warren Wilhelm. He changed his name. He goes under an alias. So, that's pretty slimy in itself. Warren Wilhelm is his real birth name. I don't know how he became Bill de Blasio, but it was a series of years that, he's a sham meister extraordinaire in my view. But the one thing I can say about de Blasio is he ran for New York City mayor. He said, I'm going to raise your taxes. I'm going to let people out of jail. He told everybody about his socialist agenda, and they still voted for him. So I give him credit only for that. I got to give the president some credit here. He took a couple of stinging losses at the Supreme Court, but in the one on Obamacare, I think him and his team realized that the court had opened the door to really expand the president's power under executive privilege. And leaves future administrations really no remedy to get rid of it. So I think he's going to go on an executive order spree. But in this tough economy right now, everyone's still struggling. He signs an executive order to lower drug costs, which has got to be a big relief, right?
Absolutely, and especially for those that depend on insulin. Listen, our hospitals, our clinics, I mean, they've become expensive parts of our pharmaceutical climate. And it's interesting to me, John, when I hear Big Pharma over the weekend complain on record saying that this is irresponsible by the president, it's reckless. John, listen, I'm as much of a capitalist as anybody. I'm always about the free markets. But what have we learned about the pharmaceutical industry? They've been predatory for many, many years. They don't like the idea of competitive drug prices. And what the president did this weekend was enable drugs from overseas to come into this market and become more affordable for Americans. I mean, we pay the highest drug costs anywhere in the world. And to see that the president is taking the initiative on this, not just with insulin, but other pharmaceutical dynamics, I think is, again, it's a reminder that the president believes in the free market. He believes in slashing regulations because you know what? That's going to create more competition, and subsequently it makes for a better economy. I don't know why people on the left denounce these sort of policies by the president, because at the end of the day, aren't Democrats and liberals always about, oh, we're advocates for the poor? No, you're not. Listen, when it comes to true economic freedom, we've known over time, John, it's about conservatives and conservative principles that enable better marketplace solutions and a healthier economy. And the president's doing that. So bravo to the president with these executive orders. Listen, the pharmaceutical industry can go kick rocks as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they made enough. They made enough at this point. You know what I'm saying? No one, there's no sympathy out there for them. And there's a whole another layer we'll talk about another day, but these pharmacy benefit managers who are the middlemen between the pharmaceutical companies and the actual distributors. And I had been suggesting to both Stephen Moore and others that are around the administration that the president could save billions of dollars if he would let people on Medicare get their drugs through the mail and not through a pharmacy and then get delivered. But it's for another day. All right, Fernando, thank you so much, brother. We'll keep in touch, and you got to check out Fernando Uribe on Politically Direct via Insider NJ, and you can catch him every single Monday right here on the Money Monday because he's one of our money guests. Thank you, Fernando. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you, John. Keep up the great work.
Same there. Same here. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come on back after this. Get a cold one ready because it's going to get even hotter in here when Zen Sam's joins us right after this.